What else can they do to deal with this Timber Saw? Because again, they're just going back to the standard.
Okay.
Having to be very careful with where you're looking to farm here with this Kunkka now as well, right? Like, you could be walking around trying to farm up neutral creeps, but if you're not careful, just pop the Spike Carapace when it's very obvious you're about to use that Tidebringer, and it gives you a really easy setup. The Enigma coming through from Polaris. Okay, something a little bit different. The Midnight Pulse, of course, very effective at being able to deal a lot of damage against the Timber Saw. It's like a semi-counter to the Monkey King as well, because obviously you want to stand in your Wukong's ring, but you don't want to be taking all of that damage throughout it as well. It is a bit weird against the Nyx though, right? Like Nyx just carapaces and walks into you, and if you don't have BKB, that black hole is for nothing.
The Midnight, is it still pure damage? Midnight Pulse?
No, they changed it over to magic.
Okay, so it's
does
not
more magic damage now though.
It's still percentage?
Yes, but they increased the percentage. So I believe previously it was like 5% maximum, and now it's 7% at max level.
Okay, so it's still, oh my, it's still pretty good. You gotta have a Spirit Vessel builder more than likely on the Clockwork as well. It's, you were speaking about in game 2, maybe my little story was coming to fruition, and well, we get it. We get the opportunity. It's incredible team fight for Polaris. And now they need some, I feel like you're probably looking for another BKB answer. You've got the Bane,
5 seconds,
but I think Clockwork and Conquer, I think specifically Clockwork is going to have to jump the Bane no matter what. Doesn't matter. Your only job this game is to get rid of the Ace 12 Bane.
Sure. But what even offlane is, assuming it is going to be an offlaner, are there that are going to be able to be that BKB piercing response other than Spirit Breaker? Maybe?
10 seconds remaining.
Doesn't seem too bad. Like, all you want chaos to be able to, get it onto the front lines, and they're going to go the Queen of Pain instead. So it's going to be the offlane Timber Saw. Don't hate it. Again, we were talking about that level of flexibility, and it feels like the Queen of Pain does just okay against the Kunkka just because of how sustainable you are in the laning stage. I'm going to have a quick look up of what her armor is, but 4 armor, not the worst to be able to start things off. This isn't like a puck matchup where you can get very heavily punished by, a lot of the physical damage harass that comes out.
Could this just be another Gyrocopter? You know that, I think you know that Timber's going to be playing in the off lane. So Gyro Clockwork seems like a relatively strong lane, and it's something that they had great success with in game 1.
Potentially. I mean, what else can we look to go for? There's 2 options, right? You can either look to go some sort of heavy range, or you can go something that just deals at a huge amount of damage in such quick fashion that the reactive armor stacks are never really a factor. I mean, could it be a Sven, for example? It leaves you a little vulnerable to the Nyx Assassin, of course, but I don't want to see something like a Drow Ranger. I don't want to see something... I don't want to see the Drow, but I also really think a Hurricane Pike is value this game against the Monkey King, right? You can stand on the edge of Wukong's and just get pushed out of it. I feel like that could be a huge benefit for this team. But also, who's going to stand it on the front lines as well outside of this Kunkka? Like, it feels like they are still having a little bit of trouble in terms of how they're going to look to initiate a lot of these engagements and not just get immediately burst down by the entire team.
Yeah, I think if it was like a melee 3, then you'd have a little bit more flexibility on how do you go for this last pick.
Choose your hero.
Is this a hero anymore? What the hell?
Apparently it is. I love how small Ricky is as well, by the way. Like, even the Clockwork is bigger than him.
A Ricky. Thoughts? How are you feeling about the Ricky?
I'm going to need a moment. Maybe just with the Diffusal, looking to try and catch out the Timber Saw, looking to burst him down, but it's a lot of attention being paid over to Sanctity. I suppose it means that Ace isn't going to have the luxury to go like the Aether Lens that he did in the previous game. You do need...
Offlane Quap, they're doing it. I thought, I really did think they'd still be flex. I'm like, why are you not going to put the Timber in the Conquer matchup? Like, I know Lelouch had a really good lane in game 1. it still just feels like it should be a free lane for Sanctity, and I think it even should go a little bit better than what it did.
But even now, like in the laning stage with the Queen of Pain, Shadow Strike, you have to be careful of where you're using it on. You need to almost exclusively use it on the Snapfire and not the Riki, because you're just going to be able to use that Tricks of the Trade to dodge out the harass potential in the lane. So, well, we asked for unconventional picks, and we certainly got them with the Enigma, the Riki, and hell, we can even throw the Nyx Assassin into the equation as well.
I know you were speaking a little bit earlier about people calling you bogged Elon Musk and some other names. I've just got Charles Xavier from X-Men. I don't know.
Charles Xavier. Actually, you do look like that guy.
Do I?
Have you seen that movie, like X-Men First Class?
No, I haven't. Wait, Charles Xavier.
Let me see if I can find the guy's name.
Charles, I can't type. Xavier.
It's all right, Zoomer. It's fine.
What?
Who was the actor?
We got a bit of a pause. So actually, we can.
James McAvoy.
James
McAvoy.
I just don't. But cool. Okay. Whatever. Guys, left Marvel for this. All right. How we feeling? Like you said, we got a bit of unconventional heroes in this game. Through another game, has to be said, we're going the distance as well. Looks like maybe the first week is switched around. Now, second week is all game 3s. I mean, Polaris.
I'm feeling Lilgun a little bit more in this game. I mean, the Bane Monkey King, very strong lane. You've got the Nyx Assassin, which again is a Hishki special. It means that you can really, if your positioning is good, which Hishki has shown time and time again that it can be, you can punish the Kunkka using that Tiebringer a little bit too freely. It means that you're not quite as worried about the black hole, because you can just carapace and walk on into it, at least prior to force picking up that. I mean, look at his item build, by the way. He's got the double Sage's Mask. He still thinks necro books are a thing. It means you're not too worried about that. And then you've got Sanctity, of course, in the favorable matchup against the Kunkka on a strong hero where, again, you're not just getting chain locked down by the likes of a Bane, and at least this time around, they've got other heroes that can look to disrupt that sort of, team fight control. They've got technically like 4-5 stuns this game, right? You've got Boundless, you've got Carapace, you've got Impale, you've got Fiend's Grip, and you've got Nightmare. So that's plenty of ways to enable Sanctity to not just get 100 to 0'd.
I'm really trying to think of how Polaris can take this, because I'm a pretty big fan of Lilgun's lineup as well. I'm a little bit concerned they don't have ways to keep them inside the Wukongs, which is my issue.
You can Sonic Wave him, push him back.
Sure.
The battle begins.
I'm gonna. Okay, no first blood. I've got a little bit more time. You keep talking. I'm gonna keep thinking.
I know you want to go Polaris because you just want to be different.
Have you said Lilgun? You said Lilgun,
I've said Lilgun. I've said Lilgun. Go on. Oh, I feel better. Go on. Do it. Have the potential of falling 2 behind.
I'm gonna go Polaris.
There we go.
Am I?
He wants to even it up.
I don't know. I'm a little bit worried these supports might do it not on Lilgun.
Talk it through.
Okay.
Help the chat out. What is your thought process of wanting to go for Polaris, other than what holds them in Wukongs?
Okay, so I think the Nyx Assassin Bane support duo is going to be very level dependent. I think if you're unable to have a really strong lane, how do you make plays across the map? You've got a Queen of Pain position 3. Like, they do have a bit of issues killing the Timbersaw. So I think Sanctity is always going to be able to just brute force down fights. But actually getting on top of Polaris is going to be a bit of an issue in my eyes. Pre-level 6s and even if they have a really tough time. And maybe the greed on the side of Dai will work.
Are you really that concerned when it comes to, like, are you that concerned that a Ricky's going to have an okay game to start? Are you that concerned that a Snapfire is going to be able to, punish you quite heavily in the laning stage? I feel like Kishka's totally happy with, just having a standard start to the game.
Although, this is exactly what they need. Was able to dodge the Impale from Natsumi, though. Just gets 11 out to safety. A huge window that they need to continue to use. Cookie, unfortunately, up in 5 seconds, so they won't have it available. They have to do as much damage to the Queen of Pain as possible before she finds the blink.
Yeah, absolutely. And, well, you got an enormous creep wave coming into you, so they're not going to do so. Going to be dying that first time up, and I still feel like you're in a pretty good spot here on Lilgun. So are you committing? Are you
yeah, I'm committing.
Polaris?
I think Clockwork as well being able to kill off the Bane, and they have a lot of mobility in regards to Cookie replace with the potential water park just to make some chaos inside the Wukongs and Ricky to jump. I think they've got ways to blow up the supports and the control to get rid of the Queen of Pain, and they can then take a fight with their numbers where they can just drop a black hole on one hero, and with the Midnight Pulse, that's enough to get the Monkey King or get the Timber. So I think you got to get to a stage where you're comfortable in a game with your items. I'm in agreement that this lane, we saw what can happen with the Monkey and Bane, and again, it's looking really difficult as Xavier's kind of play around through the eastern side of this lane at the moment, just away from 423's buffed up Jingu.
Lively now. Your admiral is on board.
I'm also kind of thinking, like, what is the item build's going to be like on some of these Radiant heroes? Of course, anytime you're up against, it's very important that you're trying to...
It might actually go down here. It's actually going to be top lane, though. 11 and Kishka diving deep on the outskirts of the T2 tower there. So able to pick up Mavis.
So yeah, as I was saying, the Force stuff, very important against the Clockwork, even against the Conqueror a little bit, right? We've seen how effective that can be with the likes of an Ember Spirit. Unless you're frame perfect with using your X marks, you're going to be able to get away. Same sort of deal with the Force stuff, right? It gives you that little bit of a window to at least get slightly closer to safety, even despite the X marks. And this game in particular, let's say that you've got the Clockwork and then you've got the smoke screen on top of that. Like, that just doubly emphasizes the need to have a Force staff to make sure that someone like Sanctity isn't getting caught in a position like that.
So is this a game where you think Kishka and both Ace 12 have to itemize Force?
I think it's fine for just Kishka to do it, to be perfectly honest. Like, you're going to... The Blink Dagger is nice, but I feel like it's just going to provide so much more value if you're able to get that Force staff onto yourself. And with the Bane... honestly, maybe even both of them, to be real. It feels like Ace is going to prioritize a little bit more towards that Aether Lens build again, but I'm not sure how effective that's going to be this time around, since he has like a direct counter that he's going to have to be facing up against.
At the moment, it does look like it's a pretty even start, though, in regards to the lanes overall. 27 to 11. Timber's definitely having a better time mid than what we saw in game one with this matchup. As again, Lelouch just keeping his life. This is once he hits level 6. It's just exact same thing. I look at Lelouch almost dying mid, and then up top, Mavis is getting killed off.
Even Force is pretty close to dying as well. Oh, able to just get away perhaps with the use of that midnight.
All 423 is going to pounce. He closes enough of the distance there. So.
The dark fundamentals.
Like I was saying, these lanes are starting relatively well, pretty even, and all of a sudden it's Lilgun now increasing their lead. Mid lane, it's Sanctity finding another kill too. Level 6 just completed.
18.
Mavis gonna try and play around with the help of the tower right click, which will be enough to find some retribution, which honestly, it's a pretty big kill. You get some solo experience on Mavis, and Timber dying at an early stage.
I mean, can you imagine if he was able to get that double kill, though? That would have been absolute disaster coming through from Polaris if that's what eventuated. But still, he's been able to build himself up a nice little bit of a net worth lead, and, well, looking to build straight into that Hood of Defiance, not wanting to, mess around all that much. I feel like this time around, even just the, I'm just thinking the Sanjin Kaya versus some of these other options for him, what could potentially be the most advantageous. I wouldn't even hate seeing him go something like a Yule's Scepter here on this this Timber Saw, just to be able to dodge out a lot of that.
Oh no, Lelouch again. Sanctity is just going to wait to charge up as much damage as possible after the Nightmare. Again, doesn't have a point in the Timber Chain, so Lelouch is out to safety thanks to the Expa. Oh, they're happy with just turning their attention to try and clean off Xavius. Sanctity is starting this game incredibly well, 2-1.
And again, Kunkka just been completely bullied out of the lane. You've got this, actually don't have the siege creep available, but that's fine. You've got essentially 2 full creep waves here. Sure, Sanctity, I was about to say, is going to look to move on past that tier 1 tower to try and find the Kunkka. But instead, just looking to accelerate his own farm instead. My main concern is that that actually does give Lelouch some sort of farm back inside this mid lane. With that double damage, he can instantly clear it out. Go straight back to a small camp. Maybe Xavius will look to stack it up a little bit on his way through. It's actually been blocked up a little bit, so really good team play coming through overall by Lilgun, just cutting off a lot of the avenues for Lelouch to come back into this game.
Do see Kunkka still with his capability, like we saw in game 1, actually down bottom. Force is going to be trapped inside the ring for too long of a duration. As Ace 12 and 4-2-3 picking up a nice early kill. And you're happy with just putting the Wukongs on cooldown, especially with how long it is early. If it can secure a kill like that on the Enigma, a very, very greedy position 3 is we're seeing him start to build into the Midas. Towards the river once again, Sanctity.
He's got 1 point in the Timber Chain now.
He's also got some backup too, as Ace 12 gonna make sure there's no avenue to the higher ground. Lelouch this time will end up falling. You know, now that the levels are starting to come out from Sanctity, you can't kind of play as greedy as what you've been attempting.
It was a cute little play there by Lelouch. He made sure on the way through to that, cut the tree that was there just to remove that potential for the Timber Chain to affect. He just leveled up the first point in the Timber Chain at level 8, but still the rest of the team joining through made sure that that wasn't going to happen. And it's quite a greedy draft as well, right? Like Force, you can see here, he's died a couple of times now, hasn't built into the Gloves of Haste just yet, so every time that he's died, he's losing a lot of that unreliable gold, really just wanting to make sure he can purchase the Hands of Midas all at once, at least the recipe component.
I think this is definitely a scary start here for Polaris, because they're just going to continue to lose map control. You've got the Nyx to scout, the Monkey to play aggressive, Quap wants to be up in your face as well. And like you said, Dive got a really greedy draft. Like, Conker's going to need some catch up after the rough lane that he had, and Enigma wants to just play super greedy and farm the jungle for as long as possible.
Sanctity probably getting one of the best neutral items you could possibly hope for in the Arcane Ring. It just reduces his downtime.
Lelouch is going to drop the combination on Kishki. But a great timing with the Spike Carapace. Now they got the turn potential as well, with the TP starting to come into play. Lelouch, oh, he really needed this kill to have some form of an early game. And third death for the Conqueror, it's looking even more grim.
Sanctity's just stalking him at this stage. He's like, oh, what? You're going to show anywhere other than my lane? I'll come and bully you out of oblivion. Now, with this, nearly got Kishka reaching up onto that level 6 as well. So you were a little bit concerned about what it would mean in terms of how level dependent these Lilgun supports were early on, but clearly not going to be
we got a black hole.
back.
Force finding 2 heroes at the moment, but the damage is coming through after the TPs as Mavis is able to close up on the Bane. They're still hunting for 4-2-3 as well, but a Torrent too shy. Monkey King's out to safety, so it's a big cooldown, and it does free open mid as well as Sanctity and Kishka starting to do some deeps on the tower.
Even going this little bit of an unorthodox Queen of Pain build into the Spirit Vessel here on 11. So he's only 1 component away from it at the 10-minute mark, so you have to be pretty damn happy with how the start of this game has worked out. And look at that, he's even going to pick up an Arcane Rune for himself, so probably not going to pop it immediately, just so that you've got the ability to have the Sonic Wave available with it. But just needs to join in with a few right clicks to be able to take out this mid tower.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
This is going to be very difficult for Polaris to play from behind. They, again, have such a greedy lineup, and man, why did I go Polaris?
I don't know.
Dude, why did I go
I really
Polaris?
don't know, man.
I legitimately was trying. I was gonna go Lilgun with you. I really liked Lilgun's draft throughout the draft, and I was just like, dude, I'm gonna go edgy. If I can one up Danog here, this is gonna do real well for the predictions. And now my team's about to be 3k gold down, unless they take this team fight, which 4-2-3 gets blown up. Kishka a little bit too late with the spike Carapace timing, but now their extra reinforcements are shown up in 11 and Sanctity. They've got some great repositioning with the Blink and Cookie, but still Natsumi's caught out. He'll tick out to the damage from the Timbersaw. Now they'll look to turn their attention to Mavis as well, as they're able to extinguish the life of the Snapfire.
I love that. You know, this is what we saw from the likes of like OG back at TI 8 and 9, what we saw from Neon back when they were in that real purple patch around the Singapore Major. They just knew how to get one extra out of a lot of these team fights, and Sanctity realizes how tanky he is. He's clearly #1 on net worth right now. He's playing a hero that in general, and so he's happy to just continuously dive past a lot of these engagements to get that straggler, to get that person that probably would live in most situations. You know, it was a good use by Mavis of the Tumblr's toy just to get that little bit of distance, but against a Timbersaw, really doesn't matter.
Look at Ace 12 looking to set up for another.
That's a Spirit Vessel completed now as well on the Queen of Pain. Much lower cooldown on that Sonic Wave as well, having used that Arcane rune previously, so it's already nearly up, only 25 seconds away.
No Point Scream is very interesting though. Like, he's really off the back of getting these kills. I guess I mean, it's worked for him so far. Had a good lane.
Hasn't hurt his farm.
Definitely not at all. But if he dies maybe once or twice in a row, we might be saying the opposite thing.
I think it's just pretty rare in a team fight that a lot of these Polaris heroes are going to be grouped up, right? Like, maybe like Enigma and Ricky, and maybe the Kunkka at one point. But like, Snapfire is never going to be there on top of them. Enigma most of the time is going to be sitting on the back lines. At least he's been able to pick up that Midas, but it was pretty damn late.
Maybe this is the angle. Sanctity is super disconnected from the team. They need the Midnight Pulse. They need the Black Hole as well. Where's the way to cancel this? The damage still not coming through fast enough. The Mortimer Kisses globs are being laid down, and well, they have to drop legitimately everything to kill off Sanctity. And now what's the price to pay afterwards? A Fiend Script from Ace 12, making sure there's no escape for Lelouch. And finally, Natsumi's going to look to show up, but the silence, it's on the Queen of Pain instead. So a full duration use of the Fiend Script will be the demise of the Conquer. These are just more Spirit Vessel charges as well, but in the end, it'll be a 2-for-1.
2-for-1, all ultimates used to kill Sanctity with what? Just a... they used the Sonic Wave, I suppose, as well, but I'd still think you're more than happy to take that trade right now if you're Lilgun. Not even giving that big of a streak away, like 5-kill streak, only 200 more gold than they got from those couple of kills there of the Polaris heroes. So, yep, still pretty happy there on Lilgun's side. How close are they to some of their next big key items? It is going to be the 4-staff on the Nyx Assassin. What's Bane got coming out to him at the moment?
Probably some wards. I think he just bought the Arcane, so nothing too crazy. Mavis, just another easy pick off here for Lilgun. It is going to be one issue of how they can take objectives though. It's going to rely on the Monkey King to be able to start to stack up a lot of farm, which is doing definitely an exceptional rate. That's also one issue from Dire, which also was kind of preventing me from being like, Polaris, do I like the lineup? But again, edgy, okay.
There's nothing stopping Sanctity from being solo now. Don't say we. Sanctity is sitting on his own in the mid lane, and he doesn't care, right? You cannot kill Sanctity without... I think you need the Black Hole. It was only one point in the Midnight Pulse, but it's the Mortimer's Kisses plus the Midnight Pulse plus the Black Hole.
Midas on cooldown's really hurting me.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
A good 20 seconds.
He's looking to try and hide away here. Forced. He should find his way to get away just in time. They haven't gotten an insane amount out of that rotation though, right? I kind of felt like they would be pushing that lane a bit further.
Xavier's gonna run into Kishki. Nice little pick off for them.
Yeah, a little disconnected.
Delay the game. That's legitimately the main thing that Polaris are looking for. Hope that Force is able to find Blink BKB. Honestly, he's got 20. He's got enough for Blink if he wants it. And Ricky's closing on Diffusal Blade, which is probably his biggest timing throughout this stage of the game. And yeah, they're gonna look to use this. Smoke up. Black Hole still on cooldown for another 35. Lelouch is really close to the Orchid as well.
He hasn't committed with a Blink Dagger yet either. So, not 100% sure what Force is thinking right now. He doesn't even have the ability to join the team.
Poor
Still another 30
Xavier.
seconds.
Is he actually going to get the TP out? Oh, Whisk is away from Xavius making it. going to give them some of information of 3 heroes being around mid, so Die with his smoke, being able to at least get a solid ward around the Radiant Triangle. Maybe that can set up for the next big fight to occur.
Still though, I feel like this tier 2 tower top probably should have... They should have at least forced the glyph, in my opinion, with that previous engagement, right? Like, Sanctity was in a position where he couldn't die, and you committed 4 heroes up towards the top side. It was really good movement by Force, just making sure to make those demonic conversion units and cut the wave, essentially. He had some good micro off to make sure not too many were dying, and they were just able to stop that push from happening. So, good stall out from Polaris. It's just a question of, can they look to continue it? That is the Sanjin Kaya completed as well for
Do you like it?
Here.
I don't know how much I like it this game, just because status resistance does nothing versus Black Hole and Ricky Silence. So I was thinking about it, like everything else is exceptional on a Timbot, but that factor in a game like this, 11. There's that use of the smoke previously to set up for the pickoff. The rest of Radiant starting to converge on the area, so Polaris have to get out straight away. And this will reveal at least there's a ward nearby. We'll see if Polaris actually look to stick around, but without kind of... Force actually did go back for the blink. Okay, I saw he had the BKB queued up previously, but he's gone for this item here.
Someone's going to need to show on this top wave. It's really obvious that they're smoked up if no one's going to look to defend this. They end up doing it anyway on 1, 2, 3, but does it out of invisibility.
Backline Ace 12. Natsumi's going to look to at least provide some pressure on the Bane to prevent the Fiend's grip. But man, Sanctity.
Oh, he
just
traps
half
him.
the damage completely gone, and now with the cogs actually not working in their own favor, Lelouch somehow out the safety. But the Fiend's grip from the low ground from Ace 12, it's actually still going to cost him his own life. But they'll charge up the Sonic Wave as soon as the Tricks of the Trade expires. Lelouch.
Mater's going to try and get away. They don't have a way to stop this just yet. And they actually changed things up as well.
They're still chasing Lelouch here. Kishki finds a connection to the backline. This time it's a pretty strong setup with the cogs. They've got Black Hole, Midnight Pulse as well, which is going to be the big damage boost here to kill off the cores, and they won't need it. Massive Pitus. My god.
He's going to try and farm it in the wave. He's like, oh god, it's gone. Where can I go? At least he's going to have that Centaur Conqueror available for himself. But yeah, changing things up, going into the Yule Scepter on the Nyx Assassin. I don't hate it because of what you're able to do against the Enigma before he's able to pick up that BKB. But, I mean, I feel like you survive on a couple of these heroes.
Solutions 80s. They're going to pounce straight on the Bane, but Radiant, they've got heroes standing hand in hand, looking to do whatever they can to withstand the initial attempt. As Lelouch is out to safety thanks to the cookie, but the rest of Lilgun pursuing on forward for more. They're going to be cautious about a choke point, but Force is nowhere to be seen, continuing to farm at the opposite side of the map. So they will lose the Lelouch, a trade not favoring Polaris.
Definitely not. He's still got that Black Hole available, of course. Also having the Ogre Axe coming out to him. Still a few seconds left on that TP, but again, it's one of these situations where you can win as many fights as you want on Lilgun, but unless you're actually looking to take a tower for it, it's not really going to be all that effective. And they don't already have the strongest lineup to be able to take those towers outside of Sanctity, of course, but it just feels like he's prioritizing his farm a little bit more right now, wanting to get that BKB nice and early.
Dire's middle tower is under
Sanctity
to Mavis and Natsumi.
Poor Mavis. He's gonna get some little bit of distance here. He doesn't have a whole lot of mana on Sanctity for this fight. Natsumi's gonna try and find a Blink Strike target, and he's out to safety. And then Arcane would be so juicy for the Enigma, but more than likely be in Timber's hands or even the Queen of Pain as well. This is definitely an issue that you just highlighted in regard to objectives. Lilgun still haven't taken tier 2. They don't have a lineup to pressure Roshan as well.
Well, neither team do, to be fair.
Yeah. But it just feels like, yeah, you double the kills, but you're just butting heads up top and getting nothing out of it. And they are getting to a stage where Sanctity is going to be vulnerable. They burnt the mana, Black Hole from afar, Kishi needs to get in range fast enough to be able to cancel, but the damage has been dealt, with the boat landing straight on the head of the Timber, and they'll get a double. 2 for the price of 1, and that is huge worth now out, and they're going to look to smoke up instantly. If they can connect this to another kill and potentially tower, huge momentum swing.
True, but what exactly do they have left to get a lot of that done, right? It's basically just the diffusal blade and the hook shot. Outside of that, not too much damage overall with Mortimer's Kisses, Black Hole, and the both used for that previous kill. So not sure how effective that's actually, going to be, the use of that smoke there. And for me, those sort of those sorts of resources are at a premium.
I think you go Roche now. I think you go to that Black Hole is probably the one thing you're really concerned about. It's going to take you quite some time.
And you're against a clockwork, so you should know a lot of the time that this sort of stuff is going on. He's actually finished a BKB on Xavius.
Yeah. All right. Got a flare. It's coming. Again, it's still really slow. They will have time to get in the area. They just feel like they can't contest it, however. So this will be free for Lilgun.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Just Kishka's courier waiting there at the secret shop with that. He's going to be able to finish up the Yule Scepter. So nice little way to assist his team by removing a lot of that damage potential, especially if he can get in onto the back lines and, for example, Yule's up the Snapfire during the Mortimer's Kisses or to disrupt Black Hole. But it's gotten to the stage where Force is pretty damn close. His next Black Hole will be with a BKB. So it's going to need to be entirely on Ace and his positioning to make sure that happens. The plus side for him, though, is that he's got the Keen Optic. See you later.
Such an ambitious attempt.
And he's basically got the Aether Lens now. He'll look to disassemble, and then bam, finished up. So nice range there on the Fiend's Grip. Even the Enfeeble, enormous range right now to be able to just pop onto the Conquer.
I believe he has to go defensive item now, though. Like you great. You've got
Shadow
this.
Amulet's fine.
Yeah, just some way to. Do you think Shadow Amulet? I feel like he still needs Force. I just like now. Yes, it's going to be a lot more expensive, but again, this is the target for Xavius. You have to get on top of the Bane.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of.
It's not even just the fact that it's the target for Xavius, right? Like we talked about before, Cogs plus Smokescreen. Very rough to deal with as a Timbersaw. At least I believe he has the BKB coming out now completed, so there's no way for Sanctity outside of the Black Hole to get fully locked down.
Gonna run into Xavius. It'll be Kishki leading. He's actually gonna pop BKB and try and hook out the safety, so...
Didn't even try the hook first, okay.
They're doing a really good job at just delaying the game continuously, though, and in fact it's Polaris with the net worth lead. Like, their cores are catching up in farm, and...
It's going back and forth. It's right on, like, the even mark right now, and... Well, you know, despite the fact that they've got relatively weak tower push, Lilgun do still have the slight edge when it comes to that, though. All Tier 1 towers removed from the game, they're farming the Dire triangle, and looking to even put a little bit of pressure in onto this Tier 2. They've spotted out 1, 2, 3. So he's careful with a lot of his positioning, and for him it's so important that he picks up his own BKB just to be able to, you know, stand and use the Wukong's command, right? Like as long as you can get that off before the Enigma Black Hole comes, you're not all that concerned, right? Because you're not going to die to any sort of right-click damage. You're not going to die to the Midnight Pulse because it's magic, and even the Mortimer's Kiss is pure magic damage, right? So BKB Wukong's is a big saving grace for yourself as long as you can get that BKB off before you get the Black Hole onto you.
Are fortified. Dire are scanning.
And Dire even glyph up bottom. I feel like it was no way they'd mount a defense. Mid lane, Natsumi.
Radiant's top tower.
Something Kishki at the moment. He's got a lot of extra control with the Yule Scepter. Now Queen of Pain as well jumps in. The Aghanim shot completed. It's something they weren't expecting on Natsumi. Snapfire makes it away. The rest of Polaris as well are out to safety.
But now without that Riki, I mean, all you need to do is push out this lane a little bit. You've got the Siege Creep, and they have no glyph. And you've still got that Aegis for the next 2 minutes or so. So absolutely nothing in my mind stopping you from just pushing into this mid tower. You have to be a little bit careful about some of the positioning from Force, and he's just TP'd all the way back to base, so he's not going to be caught on the wrong side of the map. But Sanctity, in my opinion, is in the right spot where he needs to be. Maybe he needs one person just backing him up a little bit. Right now, Ace is preoccupied with taking away that outpost. However, Riki is going to be allowed to respawn. Creep wave removed from the equation. And, well, Aegis starting to tick real damn low. Just 1 minute remaining. But that is the BKB now completed on the Monkey King. So honestly, for mine, you could even just look to push out this wave a little bit, as long as your creep wave is there. BKB, drop the Wukongs, and look to take another objective for yourself while you've still got that Aegis.
Force has got to go absolutely bonkers here this game. And Midas, Philosopher's Stone, is really working on the refresher, but have they actually caught out 4-2-3? Finds Xavius with a straight boundless strike there, so another support pick off that they can lead into an objective. They've still got about 30 seconds left on the Aegis.
The Jingu Mastery as well, so not really caring about the tower attacks all that much. Sanctity should take the aggro. Doesn't. Maybe just wanting to use the Aegis for the free HP pool. Alright, they didn't even end up taking the tier 2 tower. A little bit surprising, to be honest, considering they still had that Aegis available, but just wanting to make sure the 1-2-3 is in complete safety.
Oh no, we didn't get X back! Aegis been reclaimed, 4-2-3, full health to play with. Looking to poke and prod, not heavily commit on Polaris. Clockwork about to respawn. Again, he's going to have to find an angle to jump Ace 12. Maybe we'll see Polaris now look to play on the front foot. They haven't smoked in quite some time.
He just needs to be completely away from the rest of his team, Ace. He's
Oh,
trying
Lelouch.
to block the smokes right now.
Yeah, Ace 12 position on the high ground. They're just trying to get on top of the Bane. Ricky's going to provide that opportunity, but they've been able to assassinate towards the backline. However, Force Black Hole slowly drop to deal with the Monkey King. A heavy commitment though nonetheless. Lelouch buying back to rejoin this fight, and they're unable to close the distance on Sanctity. So Black Hole cooldown, Conquer buyback. Hey, you're very happy.
Sanctity able to get back to safety. He's also level 18, so chakra damage.
Oh no, this is huge. Kishki, he's
is
stalking
on board.
Lelouch at the moment. They're actually just going to look to try and clean off the easy kill in the Clockwork. Another super defensive use of the BKB.
Yeah, and well, despite popping everything to be able to take out that Monkey King, he's just going to be respawning. Still having that mid tier 1 tower means that just continue to push into this tier 2 tower in the mid lane. No glyph available, no black hole to be worried about. It's looking pretty good for Lilgun so far, even if the net worth is looking pretty damn even.
Dire's middle tower.
Gotta keep in mind as well that the Enigma, even though he's got the Midas, is such a low level. 15 at the moment, lowest out of the cores. We've just seen that.
He's at the top of his team's net worth,
Yeah,
right?
really surprising. Natsumi? He's in trouble. He's got the gem as well. You can't... Oh, what a manta dodge! Yo! Okay, you need some individual plays like that to bring yourself in this game.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
I'd love to give props to him, but do you not feel like he was just on his Manta King, just spam it?
100%. He's bottom mashing, doing whatever he can. Lilgun continuing to use his advantage. Really like the sleeping dart pick up from Ricky, but yeah, back on the Enigma point, he used Black Hole with it still being level 2, so it's still 20 seconds longer with 180 a cooldown. So it's gonna still be about a minute away, and well, Kishki turn to Force.
Here comes the Queen of Pain.
Just blink away right now. Blink TP right now. I'm telling you, do
You
it.
gotta burst him 100 to 0 though, right? Otherwise he's just going to BKB, TP
Well,
away.
he's just, they're definitely gonna do that. And he BKB'd. Oh no.
Oh yes. Even looking to put a little bit of pressure onto this bottom tower with the demonic, the dire Eidolons. But yeah.
Oh, Natsumi. It's gonna run underneath detection once again. I mean, this Manta play has to be exceptional. Hookshot a little bit too late from Xavius, and now Ace 12 is able to set up with the Fiend Script. They're trying to lay down the damage for the artillery to prevent the follow-up, but it's not gonna matter as the backline's being evaporated as 4-2-3 and Lelouch is in trouble. And was able to TP out. The gem still on the deck, however. Wasn't able to get out to safety. A snatch and grab. It's actually going to be Kishki, the ones to come and claim it. It's all Lilgun once again in this game.
That was so sick by Ace. Like, immediate use of the Fiend Script, just making sure they're able to chain lock down the Clockwork. A lot of the Mortimer's Kisses were focused in on brought him down to 10 HP, but he was able to get in range not only to brain sap the creeps, just to get that little bit of extra HP, he also used the Enfeeble onto the Snapfire and walked himself
Dire's
away,
top tower
surviving
is under
again on
attack.
that 10 HP, even having to pop the smoke to be able to survive from that last right click that was coming out to him. Like, he played everything perfectly in that team fight.
We're starting to see some supports of ridiculous Bane plays. Like, there's just something about this hero and the playmaking that you can still provide. You don't have the greatest way to start fights, or I should say get pickoffs in some stage in the game. But then it also shows that you can be anywhere across the map with the ward, drop Nightmare, drop Fiend's Grip, it's enough. It's very weird how the hero can work, but you can just do so much with the toolkit.
I feel like they just need to like slightly reduce that invulnerability window on Bane, and then it'll be a lot more balanced. It won't be like first pick potential every single game.
This hero is just doing so much. Every time we see this hero picked up,
They even gave the Axe Shard over to the Timbersaw, so they've got a little bit of extra pushing power for themselves now.
Aghanim shot on.
Just backpacking the Sanj, why not?
Okay, that does. What do you feel like he just sell the Sanj? Honestly,
Maybe. Like, I think you'll get to the stage where you probably don't want the boots, to be honest, and then you can look to just change that
Radiant's
in.
bottom tower is under attack.
yeah. It is a bit awkward playing without boots on a Timber though. Like, just with the chain cooldown in that regard.
I feel like the rest of his team has done a pretty damn good job of keeping people
They
locked
have.
down.
They
though.
definitely have, yeah.
Like, in a pub, absolutely. I understand. But now Lilgun, they've been playing together for quite some time now, with the exception of 11. So they know the ins and outs of how each other think.
Excellent.
Team really looking to continue with their start. Of course, their first series in the Division 2 was a victory versus Interactive Philippines, and they're looking to start Division 2 Winter 2 off with in 2-0 fashion. Polaris as well looking to start 3-0 as someone who's played a lot of series so far, not even done with week 2. They're gonna have to have a pretty incredible comeback here, down 10,000 gold.
And they've looked pretty impressive, don't get me wrong. So, actually, Ishka ends up using the Vendetta underneath the Demonic Eidolons, so they know exactly where he is. They know to just get straight on back into base unless they want to just give up their own life in pretty quick fashion. Ends up turning that Sanj into a Heaven's Halberd and switching out the boots there on Sanctity. Not sure how crazy I am about this Quicksilver Amulet, though. Actually, they end up giving
Radiant's
the gem
bottom
over
tower
to
is under
1, 2,
attack.
3. Yeah, I feel like if you've got a Paladin Sword and an Elven Tunic, I'd feel like that's much more beneficial to have against this Polaris lineup.
Dude. Mavis. Jesus Christ, that guy's so lucky. Just sweep in action. Torrent Storm now on the loose, so a lot of chaos throughout these fights. Refresher as well in force.
And we
But he's
pointed out that he
still
was level
far
15 a
out.
while ago, yeah.
Holy. He actually has to get across the map, man. This cooldown's and extra the damage as well. That's going to be huge. You need every single damage instance you can get to kill off the Timber, to even kill off the Monkey King.
That extra Midnight Pulse radius is going to be nice, though, against the Monkey King. Like, that Wukong's command isn't quite as scary now. But, I mean, you never want it to be a situation where everything is on the one player, and it feels like that is the case for Force right now with Polaris.
It is nice, though, that I think Polaris have multiple ways to start these fights. It's going to be the clock initiating, Ricky creating chaos as well. It's not all on the back of the Enigma having to just go crazy and hope that they're set up with formation. It's because that's always the awkward thing. Like, you're never going to get that. These players, even though we're in Division 2, they are incredibly experienced. They're incredibly high mechanically gifted players. They're going to know what to do. They're going to know how to form up against a hero like the Enigma with this kind of team fighting prowess. And we're just not going to see it. I think we've only seen maybe 2 heroes in a black hole so far. We do have to mention that there hasn't been many black holes this game. But
they've been on the right targets, to be fair. But Yeah, unfortunately, it just hasn't had the impact that they were hoping for with where they look to pick it up. And it's even going to get more and more challenging, 1, 2, 3, with his next item being that basher as well. So you're going to have the extra ability just to, maybe you get a little bit lucky with the Boundless Strike, for example, and you're able to actually, dish out that damage onto the Enigma to be able to break it.
Yeah, we're at a stage where Polaris was doing an exceptional job to bring this back. It was about early 20 minutes in where this game was starting to really even out, but we just saw Lilgun with how they were able to play around this Roshan control, take some objectives. The pickoffs as well came into play. Like I said earlier, I was a bit worried about the support leveling and how the impact was going to occur without that, but we've seen Kishka's done a really good job with this Nyx Assassin, and this is something we brought up, I think, in the second game, that one of his best heroes is the Nyx. When you think of this guy, it's the Nyx Assassin, and we really see why.
Yeah, he's doing work, just constantly moving around the map. They see him just as he walks underneath the sentry ward there, so the pings immediately start to come out. Natsumi trying to get a little bit of this ghost push going on here with his Manta, but you can only do so much as a Riki. Like, they're barely tickling this range creep, which is not what you want at this stage of the game.
It's a weird stage the hero's in. Doesn't want to build Battle Fury. If you don't have a good lane, Diffusal's slow, you don't catch up in farm. It's a really awkward... It feels like he's more of a position 2 right now.
Yeah. I mean, Kishka's only behind the Kunkka in terms of levels right now, when you think about, a position 4 against all of Polaris. So he just always seems to find the way to be at the right place at the right time. Even if he's not getting all of the net worth, he maximizes the levels and the impact that he has because of that.
Yo, this is a dope item. Klopp's going for a Wind Waker. That is...
Yep. Love it.
I mean, that... expensive as hell. Is it 68? Or is it... Yeah, it was 7,100 at one stage, but they lowered it. 6,800's not too cheap at
cheap.
all.
Yeah.
But like, we've been bringing up the entire game that you're playing off the back of Black Hole. And that is almost always the case on Enigma. Like, you always have to mention that late game, if you don't have a BKB piercing stun, then Black Hole can be game winning, even if you just get it on one person. But you've don't really have that possibility now into the Wind Waker.
Oh, that's real nice as well. They've picked up the telescope now onto the Bane. So yeah, even just to be there around the Queen of Pain so that she's able to use that Wind Waker from a little bit longer, right? It means that you're not quite as susceptible to being gone on by the Kunkka, by the Riki. It's a really big item for Lilgun to be able to pick up, and it could be the real key difference maker. Even just looking to pick up they got the Psychic Headband as well.
Oh,
the dream combo that all supports look for.
If there's ever a time to smoke, it feels like it's now. Like, you don't have too much gold in the bank. The items have been picked up. You've got quite the lead. I mean, your Monkey King's walking around in a goddamn tree.
I mean, they're smoking up a little bit on Polaris now. You gotta wait until this BKB is available on now. Got it. It's coming out to him now. It's going to delay that nullifier timing a little bit, which is important, of course. Going up against a Ghost Scepter on... Actually, no, Ben didn't actually end up finishing the Ghost Scepter. I know he bought it previously. But, well, must have sold it immediately.
Read him. Out they come. I like this spot for Die, though. Posturing around an observer word by the Tinker location. They pinked it out. They're aware of this. Nyx Assassin once again. A double stun, but Force is instantly going to look to pounce. With the Black Hole onto 2 heroes. The Fiend's Grip is a little bit too late for the damage that's been done. They've cleaned up the Monkey King. Nyx Assassin is next on the agenda too, as he's trying to kite the fight to the tree line. But finally, Polaris. They've swung this back in their favor. They're looking to get out with murder, but they're conquering not fast enough. They snagged Oh, they got the gem. Look at the courier. Snatch and grab. 11? Oh, he doesn't get it too. Okay.
And that was just 11 not quite being there with the rest of his team, right? He had that Wind Waker. Get the Monkey King up in the air. Even if you're not able to move him out of the black, just to prevent the damage that he was taking for, that couple of seconds duration of the Wind Waker would have been enough to enable him to turn around, get the extra Boundless Strike off to be able to live, and enable the Sanctity Timber Sword really to start putting in work.
I was going to say 4 minutes ago, do you think Enigma is still not going to be level 18 by 40 minutes in and they'd give him the tome? He's still 16.
Looks like it. Well, that's because every single
Holy.
time that he's like, the only farm that he's getting, like he's still going up in net worth, right? He's top of the net worth
just
for
Eidolons.
Polaris. It's just Eidolons, so yeah, so you're not there. The only farm that you're getting in terms of experience is just from that Hand of Midas. So every 90 seconds, you're getting some farm. Woo!
Xavius, if he can hook away, Lilgun are going to continue to chase, but Polaris is swinging down bottom. They do have an observer by the triangle, so they're well aware of the positioning from the rest of Polaris. Radiant have all their heroes back alive as well, and Mavis Jackson just going to run directly into the Nyx. As another easy pickoff.
Ooh, Ascetics Cap, that's pretty damn nice item. Would look to get that to reduce the effect of a Diffusal Blade, for example. And Timbersaw does end up putting it onto himself. He went for the Whirling Death attribute reduction. Don't hate it. It does mean that, you know, the problem we were talking about before, it feels like he really wants to be holding on to this gem just because of how it's going to be against the Riki. But the extra range, of course, very nice when you're considering the boots of speed. They're probably going to remain backpack for quite some time.
Riki's just never had even a thought of trying to go for any solo kills. Just naturally being this assassin type hero, but never really been one-on-one. Yeah, exactly. Pooty kill. I mean, you've got even more difficult now with Roshan being claimed. So
Refresher shot.
Roshan has fallen
oh
Probably
boy.
give that to 1-2-3. Yeah, just so he can have the double Wukongs, double BKB.
And he's got double life now as well. A huge way to counter any long cooldown spells. Yes, the Enigma's got Refresher. I think they gave him Tome. Because he's bumped up in a crap load of experience. So I have to imagine. Give him solo experience, please. My guy needs that 18.
I mean, he's using the Hand of Midas as well on the melee creep instead of the range one.
Bottom force?
Still get it.
He's going to solo Black Hole the Queen of Pain to start the fight. That's a pretty heavy commitment. With the boat and kisses used as well. And he's also refreshed.
Immediately.
Yeah, they want to rock and roll again.
He just wants that Midas.
100%. Let's go, baby. There's no way. My guy is actually almost a level 19. That is the fastest level he's got in this game, I reckon.
He's got to use it on the range creeps though, man. It's wasting a lot of that experience that's coming through.
Ooh, Spell Prism. Okay, that's something we have not mentioned. That is a very, very dope. 100%. Again, it's all off the Black Hole.
Now, I remember testing it when it was first implemented into the game, but there's a really weird interaction between Black Hole and Monkey King when he's in a tree. He just like, he's still floating in the air,
yeah,
even though he's moving around, so you could still like Primal Spring place it.
Wait, what?
He gets dragged towards you, but he's still in a tree technically, even though he doesn't look like it.
Jesus, Natsumi.
He's like, don't panic.
They're coming.
Their vision is based
Where's
on
the gem?
movement. It's fine.
Oh, the Nyx has got it.
Got it.
No, Natsumi's farming? Natsumi, you can't farm there.
To the elements.
Like, watch me. So now Kishka's got 2 gems, one for each of his eyes. Just puts it back into a slightly safer position.
Oh boy. I mean, Age is still for another 3 minutes, pretty much. You got to be so
we
cautious.
said the man could farm, but you don't want to be farming if that's the result.
Not at all. This is still no Silver's Edge Lelouch as well. I mean, it's just been a very slow game, so no break really to deal with Sanctity. It's all going to be force with the percent damage.
And somehow, even with Hishki patrolling around this top side of the map, the Surfer Ward still remains up there, and they might even look to use a bit of a defensive glyph here. No, just using the flamethrower.
Back so soon.
Maybe they want to try and bait out the Riki to buyback without having committed too much for themselves.
They're doing a good job at stalling. Barracks now exposed. Next set of creeps coming in shortly as well. The Midnight Pulse is going to be up in a couple of seconds, and well, let's see if Lilgun stick around.
Dire's top barracks has fallen.
Oh, they're happy to just take the one. The range racks is enough for them.
They don't want to give them the opportunity to retreat away. Instantly, Force going to look to jump once again. They need to get on that top of Ace 12, and they've been able to do so successfully. They've cancelled the opportunity for the Fiend script. It's still going to be a little bit too late now with the refresh. After the respawn, Monkey King's in trouble. No assistance. This is the fight that Polaris have been looking for. Double black hole, enough for them to come back.
It was all on Force, and he had the great initiation, even just able to get the initial burst through onto the Bane, preventing that Fiend's grip there. It still lasted for a little bit longer because he had finished up that Aghanim Scepter, and there were still the illusions channeling the Fiend's grip, but the fight was done at that stage. As long as you're able to burst through Sanctity, he is that key frontliner. He was just chain stunned. He couldn't pop the cheese at all.
Force is level 21? I'm telling you, these
I love
past...
how this is just the Force level monitoring station.
Legitimately 10 minutes, I think it went up 2 levels. That's generous even. It could legitimately be like 1 3/4.
Under attack. Radiant structures
He's still at the top of his team's net worth at least.
It's a fight, literally the perfect thing that we've been asking for. Black Hole has to bring them back, and someone has to get on the Bane, and Clockwork fulfilled that role to perfection. The Battery Assault Ministun just preventing that Fiend script from being casted on the Bane, on the Enigma. There was no opportunity, and now they get 2 towers. A little bit more map control, a little bit more gold, space now to find these tier 4 neutrals, and more importantly, it's just you are not penalized for everything being on cooldown. Black Hole, Refresher, both up in 35 seconds.
That's the big difference maker, right? So, you know, you could potentially look to go for a smoke play here on Lilgun and just, you know, try and punish the fact that it's going to be on cooldown, and that's what they opt to do. But honestly, by the time they reach Force, it's probably going to be back available again. You know, he's mindful. If no one's showing on the map, it's clearly a reason, right? So he's just going to look to back up, just play a little bit safer inside of his own base, or at least behind the rest of his team. And then, yeah, by the time they reach him, everything's going to be available once more, even level 20 now. So he went for the extra Eidolon damage, just wanting to keep those waves shoved out a little bit. You can see there the 3 wise men making their journey up towards the top side of the map. They're just chilling for now, though.
I will say it's a very cool Eidolon skin. I don't think I've seen this one before. Is it one of the newer
Probably like a Halloween one, because it says Dire Eidolon.
It's real cool. I'm a big fan. I think that's both gems as well back on Polaris, so a little bit more control going their favor. No, actually, Radiant still have 1, so we got 3 gems across. Natsumi,
what's getting caught out?
Nullifier picked up here, so they've got the window to blow up the Bane without the Clockwork. Now to the east. Force is going to drop the solo Black Hole Refresher straight for Sanctity once again. Nowhere to go through the BKB, but the buybacks, that's something we have to be cautious of. Sanctity somehow cheesing is out to safety. Torrent Storm Boat Fleet laying down Hellfire. Polaris, you need to get out to safety. A heavy commitment. Xavius, what? How?
So 1, 2, 3 jumped there, and the Chakram was there as well, so ended up pushing him out of the tree while he just jetpacked and TP'd away.
Alright, so Black Hole's on cooldown. This is huge. Only buyback on the Queen of Pain and the Bane. This could be a dieback though. Wind Waker out to safety. Rest of Radiant instantly looking to pounce as well. Lelouch, BKB defensively. With the cooldowns, it feels like Polaris don't have a big window to take the fight. The Cogs is going to prevent them from disengaging as well. A Fiend Strip just on the Clockwork. Kishki looking for more targets as well. I'll fight down with a huge command.
They might look to give that one back over to 1, 2, 3 just so that he can put up another one of those wood rings inside of the base, or I mean, it's a lot to commit just to kill a Clockwork. I feel like you need to try and force out more than this, considering you know that it's a good minute until that double BKB Black Hole is available again. Because Force has been on point with every single one of his uses.
The wages of fear.
And it's nice when it's a game where you don't have to get a 5-man Black Hole, or 4, 3 for that matter. You drop 1. You drop the second on a solo hero, you're freaking happy with that. I mean, if you get all 5 like my story, then you've got quite a comeback. You got quite a clip as well, as well, Roche is back up. Aghanims, Shard, Cheese, and Aegis. What are we up to? 4th of the game?
Yep. It's the day for it, that's for sure.
You cannot let this go for free. You have to posture aggressively. Black Hole Refresher back up. In a choke point like that, Polaris, they will be favored, but Lilgun, they also have the capability. If 4-2-3 is able to lay down the Wukongs, you know, that could be a scary thing. The damage will be a lot for Enigma if he is channeling the ultimate.
I'm just not sure what they waited for on Lilgun, to be honest. Like, Black Hole and everything's up, and now, with the Enigma, with those previous teamfight victories, they have the Lincoln Sphere. So you're not even worried about the Fiend's Grip either.
Did he stock? Drag him back up, and now they'll...
He's not stuck.
Make him unstuck. They solo smoked as well, I believe, on the Enigma. And Bane as well solo smoked. No ninja gears for them.
I think the Bane's was the ninja gear, right?
Oh yeah, I see it in the backpack. Okay, yep, sorry. I look at 11, hiding the wings. He's gonna look to pound straight away. Maybe disrupt the blink. They're all grouped up at the moment, but as soon as they see the Wukongs laid down, it's gonna be such a difficult avenue to get in the middle. Roche falling lower and lower. Force is going to jump to Black Hole! Straight at them out to the pit. The Torrent Storm gets a connection on Ace 12-2. Aegis Shard, everything picked up. It doesn't matter if you found the Fiend Grip. Force has completely fulfilled his role. And in fact, that might just be enough to turn this around. 3 down. No buybacks on those heroes. 2 have already bought back. But that is all you were needing for.
Again, just... I'm a bit confused, Lilgun. They had their window where they could have potentially gone onto that high ground, where they could have pushed things forward, and they were just playing a little bit scared, it felt like. You know, not wanting to fight into that BKB Black Hole, but by waiting, that's exactly what they did. Another great one being used, and again, it was that divide and conquer power with the Riki looking to get in on top of the Bane. He had to use the Fiend's Grip twice there. That was the use of the Refresher Shard as well, realizing the effect that Force's Lincoln Sphere had.
Now they don't
I think they can just end the game.
Maybe with the Eidolons, he did talent into it. He's also got the 25 talent too. And Monkey and Nick's got to go hack. We're going to tier 2 top, so it won't be mega creeps. Still have another Black Hole available as well if he wants to refresh. Even just completed the Octarine.
Force just waiting around 2 seconds until we see a whole lot of Eidolon boys. There we go.
Yeah, they're gonna go for it. They know no one's bought back previously. They can't get megas. Why not? 15 seconds till they'll at least have a 4 on 5.
Siege still alive. It's in a good position here, just hitting onto one of those buildings, but not wanting to give any
not the
undue
melee
net
barracks
worth over.
top. Okay.
She'll be right. Well, like your bet's looking more and more likely.
Sorry, what?
Your Polaris favor. You went for Polaris this game.
Sorry, what? Are you wrong?
Let's be real. It was looking pretty good for Lilgun, and their movement was a little odd a couple of
that's
times.
what a loser would say. Game's not over yet. We've seen...
You know, I try something nice. I try and say, good job, your thing's working out. You back in my face.
Oh, competitive. What do you... I feel like you'd do the same.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe this is... I mean, Lilgun could just wipe the floor here. One last fight.
They've even got the Refresher Orb on the Conquer as well, right? So, double Ghost Ship, double Tidal Wave, double Torrent Storm, Ghost Ship Fleet as well. So, you have to try and, like...
Jetpack in. Ace 12's going to use the Fiend's Grip on the Clockwork. He feels like he can't get the Enigma, so he's just going to use it earlier on. But Force, once again, the Black Hole instantly takes care of the Monkey King, who doesn't have a buyback. And now with the rest of Raiding, just hoping and praying they can get back inside the base. The Gobble up to Spit Natsumi on the Bane. Another Refresher using Polaris. They'll take another series victory in Division 2. I don't know how. But what a way to come back to this game. They did everything right. Delay, delay, delay. Shove out the lanes, play off the back of the Enigma team fight. It's just a timber. But good luck, my guy. It was the sanctity show in game 2. He had such an incredible timber as well earlier on. But it's too difficult of a task.
MVP
Radiant's
force.
middle tower
You
has
know,
fallen.
they put a lot onto his back and he delivered big.
I mean, MVP might go down. They're happy
Yeah,
with the
they're
kill and
calling
happy
it
with
anyways.
calling it.
All right. Very nicely done there, being able to pick that one up.
Radiant's middle
If we get a win in an
tower-
interview, I
Radiant's
wonder who
middle
it's going to
structure
be,
has
because that felt like they were backs against the wall in a very, very rough spot. But just having that patience, we've seen it in game number 1, right? They played it perfectly, not wanting to succumb to the all-in cheese push that Lilgun tried to throw at them. And this time around, just waiting for that key timing, which was the BKB refresher blink black hole.
I mean, Polaris heading into the season, definitely a contender to take that qualification spot, but they're starting 3-0 now. They've already faced a really tough opponent in Talon, and now they've taken down 2 other really strong opponents too. Lilgun looked really good through their first series, and they're a team that is no joke at all. And I mean, just shows in this series with how close it was. They had the lead. It was about 15,000, but just a mighty swing into Polaris's favor. And man, this is such a treat to watch this team, because we got to see them through Pro Series. We didn't cast their later run in the playoffs, but they are looking really dominant.
Yeah, for sure. And this is, in my opinion, like I said, there's a top 5 in both Division 1 and Division 2. Polaris are 2-0 against the top 5 in this Division 2. They just need to play up against Enigma Galaxy as well as Ragdoll. Those, in my opinion, are going to be 2 of the series that might decide the entire outcome of this overall Division 2 placements. But they've positioned themselves pretty damn well. 2 wins to start off against teams that are going to be competing at that top end, plus another one where they didn't fall down against one of the teams that you were probably favorites against. So they got close, I believe. It was against Spawn 496, was it?
Yes.
That they have their 3rd series win. Yeah, that game 1, it felt like they were kind of in a position to maybe throw it a little bit, but they brought it back. It was all cool. It was all calm. And 3-0, that's exactly where you want to be.
Yeah, just waiting to see if we do have an interview. It was like Mr. Nino said we'll try and get one. So just trying to see if that's going to be coming
Have
through.
you asked him, or
he messaged me before saying there should be one. I haven't had any follow up yet in recent minute, but
Nino, yeah.
Polaris though, again, it was just the recognition. I really wonder like how they're able to just stick on and able to convert into a map victory like that. Mavis will be in for interview, so we will have a good little fella joining us. I gotta remember Mavis's CML. I gotta make. We did okay with the name changes today.
Mm-hmm.
We did
well,
alright.
It's above their head, so that helps.
It was still, they made us work for it. Was it Xavier's it was from his
With the
kid? Yeah. So has anyone asked Mavis about the name change? I guess we
don't
can
think
ask.
so.
We can ask.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's had.
I know who was one of the other ones that had changed, and it was because like, what was it? Like one of them had a name that was because it was in like a popular Korean drama or something like that. Was the reason that he'd changed his name. I forget who it was, but it was something silly like that. And I'm like, really? That's what you want to base your name around? Oh well, you're free to do whatever you want. But yeah, just the power of that Midnight Pulse, particularly against the Timbersaw, right? It did by far the most damage this game. 10,000 damage purely against the Timbersaw through the use of that Midnight Pulse. So in the right hands, the Enigma can still be pretty damn effective, even if I still feel like it's a bit of a do-nothing hero without the Necro book. But if you give him the window to come into the game, despite the fact that he was on level 15, 16 for a long-ass time, actually, we can actually look at that as well, can't we?
I've had enough of you speaking. We got Mavis ready. I'm gonna bring him in.
Okay.
You can. I'll let you start as well with the questions after I introduce. Mavis, hello. You there? Can you hear us?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
How you doing? Firstly, after that incredibly long series victory, how's the team morale? You guys have started the season off incredibly well.
We're fine and we're happy because of our comeback. I think the first game and third game, we were losing in the first part of the game. So it was like it made us happy that we won those 2 games, even if it was hard during the early stage of the game.
Yeah, speaking of that first game, were you expecting Lilgun? Obviously, they're known for their picks, like the Husker, the Broodmother, the Lycan. Were you expecting a lot of those heroes to come out all together in the first game?
We didn't expect the Lycan actually, but we were expecting the Broodmother based on their previous games and based on our history with them. And somewhat the Timber, we were also expecting it, but not the Lycan during their draft that game.
It did make the laning stage a little bit difficult, the Lycan and the Grimstroke. I just want to talk to the way that you guys played, in particular, game one and game three, where it felt like you adapted really well. Like, obviously, the laning stages didn't go that well for you guys, but after that, it felt like you understood exactly what Lilgun were trying to go for and adjusted your play accordingly. Like, push out waves, stall the game, try and wait until we have our big items. Whose call was it to go for that sort of change in strategy?
Actually, it was already our plan before the game, like during the draft. As we saw their heroes, we can say that they were really strong in the early game. So we really have to drag and focus on the later stage of the game rather than the early. So somewhat, we also have many mistakes in the early because we tried to fight them, even if like our early plan was not to fight them. But
Yeah.
somewhat, we were able to like all of us were keep reminding each other that we don't have to fight. We have to stall our game. Especially our captain, he keeps telling us to stall the game and not fight, like avoid the fights in the early stage.
And who is captaining you at the moment? Because I know normally it's the position
It's
5 that does a lot of that, but
it's Boomy.
Boomy, okay, sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Xavius, for those that aren't
Ah, yeah,
aware,
say
and
this.
we were talking about that. That's the name of his son.
Yep.
Yeah. What was the reason behind your name change over to Mavis?
I don't have any like names to begin with, so I was just thinking, and then I was playing like I played a earn game like Axie, and it was based on the fairy tale character, Mavis Vermilion.
All right, cool. I mean,
Uh,
it's your name. You can do whatever you want with it. You've just
yeah.
made our lives a little bit more difficult because we're so used to having you as that, right? So calling
Yeah.
you a different name all these years. You got any questions, Aries?
Yeah, I'm intrigued on how you have been able to continue to build the team morale. Is there any like activities that you and the boys like doing together?
After stream, we used to go out and eat local food here, and we also bought a ping pong table to play. But right now, it's not used anymore. But yeah, it's part of our bonding. We al- we also play pub together and make fun of each other like that.
Uh, have you taken a little bit of inspiration from Army Geniuses from their interviews with the ping pong?
Yeah, because we keep telling each other that we don't have any physical activities here, so that's why we decided to buy something that will help us do some physical activities.
And now you don't play it anymore. So
Yeah,
it's
like
it's a waste.
since our Bumi got injured, I mean our captain Bumi got injured, so
Is
and
is it a severe injury? Is Boomy okay?
yeah, I think yeah before the DPC started, we had a stand in a different tournament, so like right now yeah, he's fine I think, so it's healing now, so he can play.
That's good. That's good. Well, you guys have looked really impressive so far. 3 wins on the board for you guys, and looking pretty good to maybe go into Division One. So maybe sometime in the future where your team as well as maybe us are at a tournament, I want to challenge you to some ping pong as well, Mavis, because I feel like I might be able to take you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate the interview, my guy, and
Yeah,
congratulations. And looking forward to seeing you against your next opponent, which will be Interactive Philippines in week
yeah.
3.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Oh, Danog, we've gone the distance tonight. I tell you what, it's been a really long day. We started off with Nigma Galaxy C taking it against Talon in 2-1 fashion, and then it's Polaris taking it over Lilgun in 2-1 fashion as well. I was saying, yeah, week 1 was a lot about the 2-0s quick and steamrolly games, and well, for this series and for week 2, we're having a little bit of a switch up.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, this is the sort of games that you love to cast, though, right? Like a lot of them, you just have a quick glance at the game times across all of the different regions, to be honest. And a lot of them were like, 29 minutes, 34 minutes, this sort of, and if it was a close series, maybe it would be 40, but we were getting like 50 plus minute games, game after game after game today, which is fantastic to see. And even just slight variations in the drafts as well. I don't think we've seen anyone put a draft together like we saw from Lilgun in game one. And honestly, even Polaris in game three looked pretty damn unique in its own right. But once again, the Conquer looks pretty damn solid at all stages of the game. Good laning stage, can clear out, can dish out a ton of damage, and enables that stalling potential until you can get up to those later levels, those later talents, and picking up some of the bigger items as well, like the Aghanim Shard and the Ag Scepter.
Yeah, this hero is, we've just seen overall today, it's really been just the flexibility. That's been such a huge X factor with second pick overall. It just can really set you up for a beautiful draft. We've seen the Shadow Fiends, we've seen the Conkers flex, just to name a few. And, Timber, Queen of Pain, we can even go on. But it's been quite the day of doubleheader action for Division 2. But it's not even done for Southeast Asian action as well. Over on the main channel, we do have T1 up against Team SMG. I haven't taken a look at how that series is looking so far. I don't know if game
T1 won game one.
Oh, shit. That was a 31-minute victory, and they pulled something funky out. It was either a Raze or a Queen of Pain off lane. So or SMG out, and regardless, incredible draft, and second game should be up on the main channel and also on BTS2. There is some Eastern European action going on. I believe it's a V Gaming up against Gambit as well. So for Danog and we're going to be done and dusted for tonight. There is more Division 2 action. However, we got a day break, but then on the 11th, it'll be Army Geniuses taking on Talon. So they're looking to find some retribution and get a little bit of momentum under their belt as well. They have to.
They got to get the win on the board. I mean, Army Geniuses, they're a solid team, but you would have to think with the star-studded roster that Talon has that they got to start putting these wins out, because at the moment, it nearly feels like they need to win every single one of their games remaining if they're going to have any chance of even making it to tiebreak to break into Division 1 for next season. So this could be the sort of series that they need. I don't want to say easier, but obviously Enigma Galaxy C and Polaris, two very strong teams that Talon have had to come up against. Whereas Army Geniuses, they also have a couple of newer additions to their roster. So might be a little bit easier for them to come together and start to build some of that confidence there. And for you and I think the next time that we're casting is next Wednesday, I want to say. And it's going to be a Div 1 game.
I want to surprise people. It's okay.
Well, there's not many people watching anyway. It's fine.
Yeah, we'll see. Yes, it's going to be exciting. That's going to be it for us. Like you said, though, it's anyone can take any game. We even saw over in NA earlier today, EG falling to black and yellow. So maybe Army Geniuses are able to take that. That's an important series for them as well, because they're sitting 1-1 at the moment to kind of cement themselves around the middle of the pack and also potentially contesting for that qualification spot like everyone is looking for. Southeast Asian Division 2 is on another level. We just see the action from every team that they're able to output. And for us, however, tonight, we're going to be done again. Other channels, BTS 1, BTS 2, you've got Southeast Asia, you've got Eastern Europe as well. We'll see you guys on Saturdays for some more Division 2 Winter Tour in action presented by Beyond the Summit.
We'll see you in that main stream as well. I'm going to be there. I got to watch T1 SMG.
That's a Hive game. See you guys there.